We're gonna do a glitter peekaboo mani on super short nails, and I'm trying a new formula of odorless dip liquids. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer. I'm so excited for today's video. Thank you so much, Sundara, for sending me your new formula for odorless dip liquids and all these gorgeous dip powders to try out. I've used Sundara before, but only their gels. I've never used their dip liquids or their powders. And when I saw that they had a new formula for odorless dip liquids, I knew I had to try them out. I love trying new products, but I'm really picky about what I try. I want everything to be high quality. I want to check out all the different dip colors and check out the liquids. They come in a 5 set. So step 1 is bond, and that's like a dehydrator. That would be what you'd use on your natural nails after you've done all your prep. I have builder gel down on my natural nails, a very, very tiny bit, and then I do peel base. So I skipped the bond step since I'm not dipping directly on my nails. Now, immediately, my first thoughts with using the dip base, I've used a couple kinds of sensitive or low odor, odorless type liquids. And I have to be honest, there has never been low odor liquids that I was real crazy about, but I was super impressed with these. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, okay? The dip base for these low odor liquids was really nice and thin. It wasn't runny, which is what I find with a lot of brands of liquids that are thin. They tend to be runny. These were not runny at all. So I started off really impressed. And the dry time, I would say, is medium to long. It's not anything crazy long, but I wouldn't say it's definitely not a short dry time. I actually don't like fast dry dip liquids. For me, they're too hard to work with. Like, I need to be able to take my time. It's been a while since I did a peekaboo with just dip liquids, and the last time I did it was on long nails, so I definitely was a little bit rusty. If you haven't seen any of my recent videos, I've been having some health problems. I had really bad reaction to medication, so definitely my dip skills are off compared to what they normally are. So I had to kind of think back and remember, like, how would I do peekaboo nails with only dip liquids, and how am I going to make these work better with short nails? So the first layer, I did some tapping of the glitter. The glitter is called Twinkle Toes, and the pink that I was using is called American Pink. It is like the perfect gorgeous pink for doing ombres or these peekaboos like this. It's a little bit, I wasn't sure how sheer it would be. With one dip it's sheer, with 2 dips it was a bit less sheer. It was a little bit more opaque, but still on the sheer side. So for the first layer of the peekaboo, I tried doing some tapping, and I did the tapping like I would do an ombre, and it just wasn't showing up enough. So I thought, you know what, we're gonna go with that for the first layer, and I know what I'm gonna do for the second. But I wanted to finish doing all of my glitter nails. And the nice thing about having nails this short is your dip manis move so much faster. So my nails are the shortest they've probably ever been. I've had a really short nails, but this is definitely one of the shortest I've ever had them. I just knew with what was going on with my health, with recovering from medication that did not work well with my body, I needed to keep my nails short, because if I couldn't do them for a while, I wanted them to be short so that it wouldn't be too hard to try to like keep them long or anything. So I did the first dip of glitter on my thumb, my ring finger, and my pinky. And this glitter was so easy to use. It laid really beautifully. So that to me is a huge plus. I am really picky when it comes to dip powders. I know that you probably see people use all kinds of different brands. I don't do that because I'm super picky about the quality of my dip powders, the quality of my dip liquids, gels, everything. Like, if I'm gonna do my nails, I want everything to be really high quality. And I would say after using the Sundara dips and dip powders and dip liquids, I was really impressed. The quality is absolutely great. What tells me if a glitter has high quality is, one, if the chunky pieces lay nicely. So I've used some chunky glitters that the glitters just don't lay nicely, and that for me is a big turnoff, because if I'm doing my nails, I want the glitters to lay nicely right off the bat, and that was really easy to do with the Twinkle Toes. And I want my chunky glitters to have good coverage from the start. So these had nice coverage. There wasn't too much clear in the chunky glitters. That's something else that I look for. I don't want to see a lot of clear in glitters. I want to see a ton of glitter. Okay, and these had a ton of glitter. And when you're working with a chunky glitter, if you have some areas that don't quite have enough of the chunky glitter pieces picked up, no big deal. This is my tried and true method. You just add a little bit more dip base wherever you feel like the chunky pieces are missing, and then hand place some of those chunky pieces. That is how I've been doing chunky glitters for a while now, and it works really well. And actually I had I had spilled some of the chunky glitter, like they kind of sprinkled everywhere when I was tapping. So I just used the pieces that were right there on my mat that I use to do my nails. I just picked up some of those chunky glitter pieces and placed them where I felt like they needed, some extra chunky glitter. This glitter definitely shifted a lot of different colors as I turned my hand, which I absolutely love. I am a huge fan of color shifting glitters. Now you're gonna see me start working on the second layer of the Peekaboo, and I'm so sorry. I didn't realize my light that I used to see had moved forward a little bit. So you're gonna get a little bit of that in the video, but I like to keep it real, so I wasn't even gonna try to cut it out. My plan for going into the second layer of the Peekaboo nails was to just add the dip base down at the bottom, give the glitter a good shake, and lay my nail flat onto the glitter so I would really pick up a lot of the chunky glitter pieces. Then I could just kind of move them around so it would look like they, cascaded down a little nicely. And since I did the tapping on the first layer, I already had some of the pieces cascading down for that ombre underneath type effect. And then I did what I do when I place chunky glitters. I just added some pieces where I felt like, yeah, I think I need a chunky glitter piece here or a chunky glitter piece there, so that it would look more even, like that wouldn't be too many chunky glitter pieces on one side and not the other. And then when I was doing my pointer finger, I definitely added too much dip base. I am rusty on doing my nails. Things are going to be a little bit off. My nails aren't going to be perfect. And you know what? My nails, actually, I never try to get them perfect. Okay. We are DIYers doing our nails at home. So if you are looking for somebody to follow who is not a perfectionist and does the best that they can, and has a lot of fun, you are in the right place. When I finished on the second layer with where I wanted the chunky glitter to be applied, then I went through and I applied the dip base down a little bit past the line of where the chunky glitter was. And I started off by tapping. So I tapped the American Pink over top so it would give it more of an ombre from the other side look. Now what I did was I made it a little bit too thick on my pointer finger compared to my middle finger, but that's okay. You'll see me go through and I just do some extra buffing and filing. So even with all that, because I keep my layers pretty thin, my pointer was slightly thicker than I like, but it wasn't even anything, that crazy. It worked out really well on my middle finger. I did a much better job placing the glitter on my middle finger, and I did a much better job on tapping the pink down over top. So you don't want to, when you're trying to get that Peekaboo look, you don't want to bring your dip base all the way down to cover your chunky glitter. You want some of it sticking out at the bottom, and doing the tapping for that really allowed me to get that basically underneath ombre Peekaboo type look. Once I finished with that, I went through and I did clear over all of my nails like I always do. I am a huge proponent of putting clear as the last layer of your nails, especially if you're somebody who likes to wear your manis a lot. So you might see, different nail content creators not use clear as their last dip, but some of them aren't trying to keep their nails on long. Some of them are just trying to keep them on for a day or two. When I do my manis, I like to try to give you the advice that would get you to last your nails the longest. And for me, sealing in the glitter, the flakes, foils, shimmers, solids, I always want to seal in whatever color I'm using with clear dip powder as the last layer. And then once it's dried, you brush off the excess so that your nails don't have to be any thicker than they are. And then you can go in with your activator. So the activator to me dried in like a normal time. It wasn't a fast dry activator. I would say it took about, 5+ minutes till the activator was dry. But I always do my left hand first. I go through and do activator, and then I do my right hand. So that by the time I'm ready to go back and file and buff and shape on my left hand, the activator has had more than enough time to dry. Since my nails are really short and these liquids are really nice to work with, I just had to do some buffing and a little bit of fine tuning for the shape. Now on my pointer finger, I had to do a little bit of extra buffing just because I made it a little bit thicker than I normally like. So I just did a little extra buff to make it thinner. And then I went around and fixed up my shaping because dip adds bulk. So I like to go around with the hand file and just make sure my shaping is nice and clean. Then I go in with my Efile. I use my Pana Extra Fine Barrel bit to clean up around my cuticle lines so that they look nice and smooth. That's my secret to perfect cuticle lines. I mean, part of it is how I dip because I've really, taught myself to apply the dip liquids thinly, but a lot of it is using the nail file bit because I don't apply my nails perfectly every time. So using that E-file to go around and get my cuticle lines looking good is my secret that I don't keep secret. I wanted to show you how to do the top coating for these odorless liquids. Anytime I do top coating, I make sure I wipe my nails off with isopropyl alcohol on a lint-free wipe or paper towel, and then I push my cuticles back. I always make sure that I do my top coating one hand at a time. So I followed the instructions and applied activator to all 5 nails and then waited for exactly 1 minute. Then I went in with the first layer of the top coat, the dip top coat, in 2 to 3 quick even strokes, and I made sure that I wiped it off on a paper towel or a lint-free wipe for me, like the instruction said, in between each nail. I noted that the instruction said that this top coat needs the activator to dry properly, so that's why you don't wipe it off. You always want to make sure that you follow the instructions of the dip liquids that you're using. Once you're finished with your top coat on all 5 nails for the first layer, then you immediately go back in for the second layer. So when I got to my pinky, I went right back to my thumb to do the second layer, and you want to do those more precisely according to the directions. Now, something that I always do, I always float my dip top coat over my nails. It just helps that I don't contaminate my brush, which means make the top coat brush hard, and that gave me such a gorgeous shine. I'm so loving the short nails right now, and if you are looking for some more short nail content, then make sure you check out this next video and I'll give you another fun design to do on your short nails. Thanks for joining me today, Nail Crew.